Hey everybody, welcome on back to Oops, the podcast. It's Francis. I'm joined as ever by my dear host, Giulio Gallerati. God, Jesus. Giulio Gallerati, how are you, pal?
I'm doing better than you, apparently.
I'm fumbling. And we have an amazing guest today. We are joined by the lovely Krystyna Hutchinson. You know her from Guys We Fucked. Krystyna, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Good to have you here.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
I would be such a bad late night host. So Krystyna, thanks for being here as ever. We're big fans. We had Corinne on the show about a couple months ago, I think.
Nice.
And she only had the nicest things to say about you.
Oh, that's nice. I think no, just kidding.
I
love Corinne.
But you guys, I consider Guys We Fucked to be the Lewis and Clark of sex positive podcasts.
Ooh. I've not heard that before, and that's probably my favorite one.
I just came up with
I'm annoyed that that's coming out of a guy's mouth, but you nailed it. Congrats.
Well, and also
You
Lewis
have the
and
best
Clark
one.
were both men. And
True.
They who was the woman? Was
Sacagawea.
Yeah, it was Sacagawea. Yeah, she helped them a lot.
She did. She guided them a lot of the way.
Yes, but to call you guys both Sacagaweas would not be enough credit to your pioneering.
No, I like that. I like that comparison. Thank you.
I want to ask you a little bit about Guys We Fucked, because we've seen such a proliferation, I think, of women sex positive podcasts.
Yes.
Namely, Girls Gotta Eat, and we're huge fans of them. We've had both Ashley and Raina on the show, and now at my former employee Barstool, they've got a huge podcast. Call Her Daddy, and obviously, I think all three are different.
Yeah.
Especially Call Her Daddy, it tends to get a little bit more, I want to say pornographic.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah, but I don't mean that in like a mean way either. I think they would say that too.
I've never listened to Call Her Daddy, but what do you mean by pornographic? Are they like, I'm touching my titty right now?
Yeah, it is
Vulgar.
Take your dick out.
like an hour and a half of blowjob technique.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That'd be a whole episode.
Yeah. Oh, a whole episode. Wow. So they really go hard on.
Yeah.
Got it.
So they're unabashed in their, sexualization of content. But you guys are you cover such a breadth of topics. When you started your podcast, when was that? Was it like 2014?
2000. It was December 2013 was the first episode. So,
Wow.
But it was about almost 6 years ago.
How quickly did it explode?
We record, let's see. So December it came out, and then maybe I would say 2 weeks after the episode's the podcast was live, the Daily Beast wrote an article about us called the podcast Too Hot for iTunes. And because iTunes wouldn't accept us. And they wouldn't tell us why, but we're like, we get it. And so Daily Beast used that as their headline, and then they put it in their e-blast, and then that made the podcast explode. That was the first press we've ever gotten. Yeah. That was the first piece of press we ever got.
Wow.
Corinne
Did you
was
know they
with
were writing it? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
This guy Rich, he knows Corinne, and he came to New York Comedy Club or Stand Up New York to interview us, and we were like, this is so cool. And that article, every time we get press, the first couple of years we did it, we've been covered in everywhere. So every time we got covered in a publication, it would our audience would double.
Wow.
So that was just like this giant domino effect.
Cool.
Chris, get on the publication thing. Call up your friends at the magazines.
This has just turned into Francis just getting advice on how to make our podcast go.
Need all the help we can.
Well done,
get,
pal.
you know?
Well
You
done.
gotta have an angle though. What's the angle?
Well, our angle is mistakes.
Mistakes. Well,
Which,
that's
thank
good.
you.
That's relatable.
Yeah.
Thank you for teeing up our first topic.
Absolutely.
Oh, perfect. Wow.
You're the best
I've been doing this for a while.
of our show.
Yeah.
Krystyna, what in your career, or let's start with your podcast, has there been a moment where you guys were, or you specifically, were nervous about something that you'd said or something that you guys did that you thought, are we going to be able to get past this?
Yes. A lot. Many, many times.
Right.
I was nervous. I mean, every time we interviewed a guy I fucked, that was nerve-wracking. Because then as the podcast got more popular and we would bring on a guy we fucked, people would message them, listeners trying to fuck them. And I was like, I get it, but can you fuck someone else?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What? So the last guy that I had on that I was sleeping with, I was sleeping with him at the time was Dan Soder. And I was like, man, it had been a while since I had a guy that I fucked on because I dated somebody for 7 years and we had broken up. So I was nervous about that. And so Corinne she knew I was nervous. So before that episode aired, during the intro of that, she was like, she's threatening our listeners. Like, if I find out one of you DMs your titties to Soder, I'm going to find out where you live. I'm going to find out who your boyfriend is and I'm going to fuck him. And she just went on this rant. She was obviously kidding. But like, so that's always nerve wracking. Saying things that are regrettable all the time about my parents, just personal stuff. Because you forget, you do this for so long, you forget there's a mic.
Totally.
I forgot we were on a podcast like 8 times since we started.
Yes.
It's just like,
it's very disarming.
I'm too comfortable in front of a microphone.
It's that. And it's also not seeing the audience and forgetting that people actually listen to this stuff.
Right.
And for you guys, it's a pretty significant number.
It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot of people.
So wait, let me ask you a quick question about that. So you were hooking up with Soder at the time that you had him on the podcast?
I don't know if we were hooking up at the time. We probably just stopped. Or maybe we just stopped. I don't know. I forget exactly. But I knew that there was a possibility that people were gonna like hit him up, and I'm
100%.
like, I'm not having him on here. So, not that. But then at the same time, I don't want him to not get puss. You know what I mean? It's like that weird. Like, it's not his fault.
Right.
It's not their fault.
He's a
really.
stud.
They're hot-blooded women. Our fans are really attractive young women. Like a giant portion of our fans are really hot chicks, to the point where every time we go to like the comedy store in LA, the wait staff there is mostly male, and they're like, come back anytime you want. Like, they love our audience because they're all just hot chicks who are very sexually confident and sexually explorative. And so,
wow, what a great audience!
Fun bunch.
It's really great. It's hot girls are just fucking great, man.
I really like hot girls. I agree. I mean, some of them are cunts, but the ones who aren't cunts, hot girls who aren't cunts, are my favorite. They're my favorite. They just make me feel so great.
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
They're great.
LA girl, like, I feel like LA comedy audiences are hotter to begin with. So you guys are bringing the cream of the crop of LA out. It just must be a spectacle.
It's everywhere we go. Midwest, especially the Midwest. We're like a magnet for all the hotties. Midwest.
Here's a question. Do you think that when you bring on a guy that either you or Corinne have slept with, does that change the way that someone is listening, the way they think about the guy? Does that incentivize them more to want to go after that guy?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Is it because you guys present
because
them?
we fucked them. And I look, I'm not wanting to assume that because I think I'm a piece of crap. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have like, Corinne has like a normal level of self-confidence that she likes herself. I like myself, but I'm not like, you're just trying to fuck him because I fucked him. But people straight up told us that. So that's how I know.
Are kingmakers.
Yes.
Spirit animals.
Yes. And when we do have, like, I mean, I was dating someone, like I said, for most of the podcast. And so when we would have hot guys come on who were single, they would show me their DMs after they come on guys we fucked. And I'm like, oh my God. Crazy. Like, I'm like, good for you, dude. That's
But that's a slightly different thing, right? Because
they're seeing this man, this hot, funny man in the light, and he's talking to 2 women, and we're getting things out of him that women want to hear him talk
he's
about.
Being vulnerable,
you know what I mean? Exactly.
Sensitive.
We make people feel very comfortable being vulnerable and honest.
Love that.
I got it.
So they're in their best light.
Then that to me makes me think that it's just the fact that you guys are so good at presenting your guests that regardless of whether or not you've fucked them, they're going to get some kind of reaction from your female audience.
Yeah, we're good. Well, we're good. We're good at making our guests feel comfortable. That's the number one. The outcome when it's a hot single guy is their DMs get filled up with hot girl DMs. But also we had like Amanda Knox on. And I asked her if she masturbated in prison. And I was like, I knew I wanted to ask her that question, but I'm like, I don't know how the fuck I'm going to get to a point in the interview where I'm comfortable enough where it feels okay, but I will. And it was one of the last things I asked her.
Did she handle it okay?
Yeah, she said she learned to masturbate in prison.
Wow.
And there was only a 5-minute span once a night where there was no guard walking past her cell. And I was like, damn, dude.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's survival. You have to, your brain, or else you're going to kill yourself. You have to have something.
The masturbation window.
Yeah.
I watched her documentary. I think
I watched it too.
On Netflix.
Was it Netflix? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those things
she's
where
a smart.
Yeah.
She's a smart motherfucker.
That story had gone so viral, but I didn't understand the particulars of it.
Yeah.
And it was really
a lot of slut shaming involved in
also
that.
just the Italian legal systems, like they're so old fashioned.
Yeah.
And it's not
clunky.
Innocent until proven guilty
Not
at all.
No, she had a time.
Yeah.
That was wild.
So to be able to talk to her about that, like that's what I think that's the magic of when Corinne and I are together. We can make anybody talk about anything, but not in a manipulative way, but in like a, people always are like, wow, I really didn't think I was going to talk about that, but I felt very comfortable. I'm like,
is there ever a moment when you have a guest on it? Because it's not all just guys that you have fucked.
Certainly not.
Yeah. At one point, was it?
Yeah, for the first like 3 or 4 months,
Yeah.
and then we had to branch out.
Yeah.
Because there were there's still guys for each of us that haven't come on the podcast that either don't want to because they're not a public person, and I get that, or I don't want them to come on.
Got it.
So
I would have to think that to bring someone on your podcast that you've been so intimate with and to have it go well is a real testament not only to you but also to that guy, because I can't.
Soder's a great example of that. That interview was so fun and interesting, and he was great. And I was like, look at us being mature. Fucking good for us.
Does it ever go so well that it makes you mad?
What do you, like, I wish I was still dating the guy?
You're like, well, I expected him to be more affected by, this.
No,
and that we're not, and
that's not something I would ever think. No, I wouldn't. No, if it goes really well, I'm really happy.
Well, but does it ever go so well that you end up having sex again?
No. Well, we interviewed Stefano again. And when we first came on the podcast, we had not had sex, and then when he came on a second time, we had already had sex. But it was awkward, the sex. And he talked about it on his podcast with me on it. And it was very uncomfortable. I was like, wow, this is a weird conversation to have. But it's also the nature of my fucking thing. And so he came on again. And the interview was so good. And he's so cute and flirty and like charming and adorable and funny that I was going to text him like, when do I was again? And he texted to me first. And I was like, yeah, we never did. But like, that was the only time I was like, you're so charming. Let's just second try.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
One thing I will say, I was thinking about you and Corinne the other day because I'm envious about the fact that you have such a great name for the people who listen to your podcast.
Oh, fuckers.
Fuckers is the
fuckers.
That is so great. And I was thinking if Francis and I could somehow do that, and we're gonna have to really think about it because oopsies is not a good.
Well, actually, when I was writing my list, I was like, my oopsies.
Yeah,
that's
of the
cute.
things that I did that I fucked up on.
I love that.
That's nice at least.
I like oopsies. I think it's cute.
Yeah.
What's up, oopsies?
Yeah.
Guys, I'm not
Hey,
fucking
little
oopsie.
Yeah.
No, you'd be like, yo, I'm fucking oopsie. Own it.
That's kind of
Yeah.
tight.
Own your oops.
You cool with the tone.
That's kinda
Absolutely.
Own your oops is a great phrase, like
Own your
catchphrase.
oops.
Here's another question really quick before we get back into more of your oopses.
Yeah.
Oopsies.
Oopsies.
The question I have is, you guys made this incredible dynamic shift into taking your podcast off of, everywhere.
Yeah.
And signing up with Luminary.
Yes.
For a blockbuster deal.
Yes.
That was heralded high and low as a crowning achievement in podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, you guys are a year or two removed from that?
A year.
Are you enjoying the new format? Do you regret the fact that you have quarantined your podcast a little bit behind a paywall?
Oh, God, not at all. I am so happy. Here's why we did it. That decision took an entire year for us to think on. We thought about, they approached us a year before we signed the contracts because we were like, it took us 2 years to have ads on the podcast because we didn't want to sell out, right? But then by the time we just said yes to Luminary, we'd already met with the company multiple times. The CEO, I was like, okay, he's not weird. He actually is like a cool young dude who really gives a shit about podcasting, really nerds out on it. And I listen to a lot. We listen to a lot of the same podcasts, this guy and I. And so I liked the other podcasts that were going to be exclusive to the network because I'm like, well, if I wanted to sign up, what else am I getting? I wanted to make sure that I would be really enthusiastic about the choice. One of the main reasons that we did it was because we felt like just anybody could listen to the podcast at any moment, at any time. And that was the case. And I would be getting text messages, phone calls from exes, from friends, from just like, you said this, and were you talking about me? And I'm like, oh my God, fucking everybody relax. And it became, and we would have guys on and they would just get like, even our like I broke up with my boyfriend of 7 years. And the next week he told me 12 girls DM'd him trying to fuck. And I was God. Dude, just wait like a month. Like, I don't care. I don't claim him, but like, I'm still so heartbroken over him. And it's really, at the time, I'm very happy now. But like, I was so sad, and that just sucked. And I'm like, this is getting out of hand because we're taking our most secret, vulnerable instances in our lives and our thoughts and our feelings about shit, and we're airing it out for everybody to listen to at any time, to throw back in our face, it felt like. So if you're listening on Luminary, that means you want to be listening. And ever since we made the switch, all the listeners they've all let us know, like, you like doing this podcast more. Like, they hear it in our voice and based off of how honest, again, we are about everything.
Right.
So that's the main reason we did the switch. And it's so much more enjoyable to do Guys We Fuck now. Oh,
That's great. And everything else is
we
under
talk
wraps,
about
right?
shit. What?
So all the old episodes are gone?
No, the
Or
old
still up?
episodes you could still listen to.
Okay.
Yeah, you could still listen to it for free. I think anywhere. Luminary was going to do that you could only listen to it on the app, but I'm pretty sure anywhere has all hundreds of episodes. But man, we're more honest now than we ever were, and it feels better because it doesn't feel like we have like snipers waiting to like.
Right. Okay. So awesome. Now on to the oops.
Oh yeah. Which one do you
What
want?
you got? Christina was kind enough to make a nice list for us.
Yeah. Well, this is just dumb shit I did.
Have you ever been fired?
Yeah, I have. I was fired as a hostess at this Italian restaurant across from Lincoln Center because I didn't wear enough makeup, and I was like, "Fuck you."
I know that restaurant.
Yeah, what's its name? Let's call him.
I don't
out.
know, but it's the one where everybody goes before
It's
the
very
ballet.
yep. It's very
I
fancy.
went with my parents.
Wow.
It's very
is
good.
it really fancy?
It's
maybe
really
it's not that
fancy
one,
Italian.
It's on the Broadway or whatever.
Yeah. It's
forget what
right
it's
across
called.
from
What's it
Lincoln
called?
Center.
Well, Christina,
I don't know.
If it's so fancy, I mean, it sounds like you should have been wearing.
I
more
was
makeup.
wearing makeup. You cunt. I regret
That's
telling you
exactly like
that.
that Office Space moment where Jennifer Aniston doesn't wear enough flair.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what that makes me think of.
Yeah, I got fired from that. I got fired from Texas Roadhouse. Service industry, not my thing.
In New York?
No, in Pennsylvania.
Is there even a Texas Roadhouse here? Probably.
No,
not.
I wish.
Oh.
They have the best
Pennsylvania.
cinnamon butter.
How old were you?
19.
Wow. What were you doing?
I spilled soda on every other customer.
Were you a college student?
Yes.
Where were you
Did
going?
you
Penn
have
State.
Parkinson's?
Yes.
Or-
Nope. I didn't. I couldn't yell anything. I was just nervous. I was just really nervous.
Spilling soda.
happens.
On men's laps. It was always a guy. I never spilled it on a woman.
Did they turn it into like a sexual thing, or were they just angry?
No, they were mad. They were mad at me. So
Free
maybe if I was
refills.
wearing more makeup, they think I was hot, and they turned into a sexual thing. But they were mad. I got fired from that, and then that was it. Yeah, that was it. Getting fired really affects me. If
Me
I do
too.
poorly on anything, I get really upset.
It hurts.
Do you want me to go over some oopsies?
Yeah, let's hear some
in
of your
there.
great mistakes.
So, one time I was standing outside the Comedy Cellar and there was a fire drill, and Russell Peters was standing next to me, and I go, "Oh, are you a comic?"
That's
And
pretty
he got
good.
really mad at me.
Really?
Yep. And then Corinne elbowed me in the gut, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess that's a yes." I ate the first time I ate an edible in San Francisco. A fan gave it to us, and I had such a big panic attack on the plane that I almost got us kicked off the plane.
I'm going to pause you for 1 second. I heard that 3 out of 5 people
That's crazy.
who endure panic and fear of flying
Mm-hmm.
stems from a bad edible experience that they had on a plane.
Really?
As a doctor told me that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was already afraid of flying before the edible.
Yeah.
Because 9/11. Just ever since I was glued to the videos of those planes crashing in the tower. That the next time I boarded a plane, that was the only image I had of a plane, burned into my brain. So I was just convinced we were gonna die every time I went on a plane.
Yeah.
Edibles are just a risky thing to begin with.
Yeah.
My girlfriend doesn't know this, and I mean, she's going to listen to this and hear it, but I was like, I have a
This
bunch
is
of...
how you know if she listens to your podcast or not.
Right, I know. She does listen. but
Okay.
I'm
That's
sorry.
nice.
I'm sorry. For her birthday party, I was like, should I bring these edibles to your party? She's like, no, don't do that.
And
I was like, it'll be fun. I'll tell them not to take it. It'll be fine. So I brought them.
I'll tell everybody not to eat them and then just watch them.
Well, anyway, I gave them all out. This one guy who I brought to her party, mind you.
Oh, I saw this guy.
Did you?
Did you
The
tell people they were
Halloween
edible?
No. This is the
Oh,
year before.
sorry.
They knew they were ingesting an edible?
No. So I was like, don't take this now.
Oh, okay.
And he goes, okay. Then at the end of the night, we're out. We're having a great time. He gets kicked out. And then he's on the side. He's lying on the sidewalk, puking into a gutter.
Uh-oh.
And we're like, we can't just leave him here. This is my friend. She doesn't even know him.
Yeah.
And we're taking care of him. The police come over. The police start saying, what did you do to him? I'm like, excuse
What
me?
the fuck?
It becomes this whole thing. And eventually an ambulance ends up coming, and he goes to the hospital, and he ends up being fine. And 2 weeks later, he's like, dude, I shouldn't have taken that edible. I was like, dude, I told you not to take the whole thing. He goes, dude, I was wasted. Obviously, I'm going to take it.
Oh.
Yeah. See, that's when you learn that like a giant bite of a cookie is way too much when it's an edible cookie.
It's way
You're
too much.
Truly only supposed to have a crumb. Like really just a little morsel.
Well, this is why I've actually become a big edible person, because now with the chocolate bars and whatnot, you have an actual idea of the dose that you're taking.
Yeah. When you buy them like that, from a place.
Right. Whereas in college, my friend Alex had a rice cooker, and he would make like globs of cookie dough.
Yeah.
And be like, here you go.
There's no
and
medical
just crumble
know-how.
it into your hand. You're like, well, how much is this? He's like, I don't know, 5 hours. I'm like, I have shit to do today. I have a paper I need to write.
When I took that edible, I was in a terminal of the airport with Corinne, and it didn't kick in yet. And she was like, hey, I'm going to go to Starbucks. You want anything? I'm like, yeah, chai latte. So she leaves. And then I'm in the thing. And then all of a sudden I was like, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Oh my God, I'm going to die. Oh my God, I'm going to die. And I started sweating, crying, snotting. And I texted Corinne, I'm like, you're going to kill me. Dude, you're going to kill me. I ate a piece of that edible that the fan gave us. And she was like, you ate that? I fucking ate that the other night and I thought I was going to die. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? And she's like, and she goes, I legit thought I was going to die. I'm like, you could have called somebody. She's like, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die. I'm like, oh my God, you are so
So
goth.
fatalist.
Fuck yeah.
So goth.
Yeah.
Living
I'm like,
life
Corinne,
to
you
the
should have come
fullest.
to my room. She's like, I mean, if that was the end for me, that was the end for me. I'm like, wow.
Starts writing notes.
So, and then all of the people, like we were in the terminal, and she comes back and she's like, I took the edible too. I had the same reaction. Don't worry, you're not going to die. And I was like, no, but I'm pretty sure I am. It was weird. I've never felt this feeling since, and I've done edibles since then. Where I'm like, I felt like a bomb was coming towards me. That's the only way I can describe it. And then there was this little girl in, there was this Muslim family, and they were really sweet, and they had all these like cute little babies with them, and they were in the burqas, but they were like, one of them looked over, and I thought she looked over at me like that, but she was just looking at me because I was screaming and crying. And I was like, what does she want? Oh my God. And then this little girl comes over, and she looks at me, and she tilts her head back, and she just stares at me. And I'm like, Corinne, that's happening, right? Is that happening? She's like, I don't think she's ever seen a grown woman cry, Krystyna. And I was like, oh my God. And then there were at least 4 severely handicapped people in wheelchairs, severely like atrophied, like, and if you're that high, and it was bad.
Everything seemed like a thing.
Everything seemed like it was like trying to attack me.
Damn.
And it wasn't.
It's amazing.
That's why I hate edibles.
Yeah, everybody
It was so bad.
has a pretty spooky edible story. Flying is tough. I like to fly. I'll take a red eye, and I do like to take an edible.
I do that now,
'Cause it
but now
helps
I know
me-
not to take crack edibles.
Yeah,
though.
sleep.
Yeah.
I have to fly sober, or I wake up like feeling horrible.
Oh yeah.
People drinking in the airport, I do not understand it.
Oh, I did that the first couple times because I had a fear of flying. It was bad.
Did
But
you feel like shit after though?
No.
No.
And also the drinking didn't help. So I'm like, well, I'm not gonna waste that.
May I ask you an interesting question?
You may.
Do you drink to this day?
Yeah.
Great. A lot of comedians don't.
Oh yeah, no, I'm fun. And I don't get tanked.
That's the thing. There are very few comedians I know that can exist in that middle ground.
Alcohol. No, I have an Adderall problem. Had an Adderall problem, so I'm not like clear of substance abuse, but alcohol was never an issue.
What is an Adderall problem?
Taking 70 milligrams of Adderall a day.
Wow, that's a lot.
Wow.
Yep.
Do you still take it?
No.
Zero. No.
0.
70's
I have a
lot.
couple pills in my desk in my house, just so like I don't know, like the idea that I could take it if I want it is what helps me stay off of it. Oddly enough.
Were you taking
Control of
2
it.
30s and a 10 or something?
Yeah. Yo, you take Adderall too?
I do, yeah.
Yo, you got the XR, the instant release. I was on Vyvanse for a while.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was a fun dance with the devil.
I was just picturing you cutting a big slice of Adderall cake and eating that, and I was
Nope.
like, "That's
No, we don't eat cake when we're on Adderall. It makes you not hungry.
no, right?"
Yeah.
I take it. But I take a controlled dose. I've been taking the same amount for a long time.
Yeah, well, that's normal then.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I was taking too much.
That's crazy. Because you chase the dragon with Adderall.
You absolutely do. And I was always tired. I have Lyme's disease. And I don't know if that's why I'm always tired, but I'm just always tired. Like I never was able to stay out late. And my friends would always make fun of me. And when I discovered Adderall, I was like, I'm the king of the world. Oh my God. And, but oh, man, speaking of, it makes you so crazy. Fucking Hitler gave the Nazis methamphetamines when they were fighting in World War II. And that is why their army was so ill-equipped to beat the French army. And they beat them because they were basically on meth.
I just saw
crazy.
that in the World War II doc.
Yeah, no, it's on the Netflix one, the color.
Yeah.
footage. Yeah.
I love that.
I've known that for a while because I wanted to do an episode of my podcast on Adderall addiction because I'm fine talking about it. I wasn't for a while because when you're embarrassed to talk about it, that's how you know, like, oh, I'm an addict. That's why. But yeah, I did research on it and I was like, the Nazis took Adderall to be Nazis. Yeah. This is not a good drug.
It was an over-the-counter drug that they had.
Penzatone, I think it was called. Yeah,
right. And it was meth.
Yep.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
So
and
crazy.
that's why they were able to charge through 3 days, no sleep.
Yeah. Wow. The tank drivers. Yeah. All those people. So, okay. Unbelievable. Wow. That was a lot of good stuff. Is there anything else on there that you had that you thought was particularly juicy?
My first ever night in New York, I think you could technically say I got kidnapped. My first night out in New York by a club promoter.
Let's hear
What
about
happened?
that. I want to hear that
My
story.
friend and I, this girl Ashley that I'm still good friends with today, she's like this. I met her the first day of school, before school started, when we both moved into the transfer dorms at Marymount Manhattan. And she was like, I know a club promoter. Let's go out. And I was like, okay. And we got wasted. And this club promoter came up to us and asked if we like karaoke. And we're like, yeah, oh my God, I love it. And he's like, let's go to do karaoke. And we get in his car. And I was like, okay. And then we start driving over a bridge. We were at Marquee in the Meatpacking District.
Oh, yeah.
Then we start driving over a bridge. And I was like, wait, what? And the guy was like, oh, we're going to go into my house to do a karaoke. And Ashley and I were both 19. We're like, this guy is like 50. And we're like, I don't want to do this. And he's like, it'll be fine. Just sing one song and then I'll let you go. And I was like, oh, no, it's not good. Our phones died. And we went to his house. I think we were in Queens. It was my first night in New York, so I don't really, but it was a freestanding house. It was like suburbia. And we went into his living room and he put on Don't You Wish Your Girlfriend Was Hot Like Me by the Pussycat Dolls. And we both sang that song crying in his living room because we thought we were about to die. My first night in New York.
He's like, sing the song.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said, sing.
We're
like, yep, exactly.
Like me.
I wonder if that is a thing that has gotten out yet. About a guy who systematically was taking girls to his house.
But he didn't do anything to us.
Sing that. Yeah, thank God.
It was the weirdest thing. And his living room only had a couch that looked like it was in like the lobby of a La Quinta Inn. And then just that couch and then a karaoke machine. And it was a giant living room. It was weird.
How'd you get home?
I don't remember. I have no idea. Because we didn't have, I guess we had money. But I don't know if we had a cab. I have no idea.
Oh, that's scary. This is probably pre-Uber times, I imagine.
Yeah,
100%. Your phones were
100%.
dead.
This was in 2007.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Damn. Unreal.
Yep.
Well, let me ask you this. In actually, I don't have a question.
What happened?
I don't know. I feel like we've covered so much. I was about to ask a question that I feel like I've already kind of asked her.
Oh,
but I didn't want to be redundant.
Well, the club thing, that whole like, that sounds like the beginning of a horror movie. Like, I know this club promoter, like, we're gonna go out. You know what I mean? And
we did that a lot at the beginning.
Yeah, I used to do that.
That scenario
it was fun.
Is
when you're
dangerous.
19, you're like, you feel the freest ever. In a club in New York City and you're a hot 19-year-old and you're getting fucking liquor for free. And there's my friend made out with Nickelback, Chad Kroeger from Nickelback once. I was like, yeah, this is the best.
Nickelback was like fucking killing it then too.
Yeah.
They still are, I guess.
My junior summer of college, I was in New York doing an internship and living at my aunt's house, and she was gone for the whole summer.
Where'd she live?
In the West Village. They have like a four-story townhouse
like
on
Jane Street or
Perry
some shit.
Street.
Oh, Perry's a good street.
So it was,
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought she lived in Horatio. Whatever. I love the West Village. My favorite.
Yes.
Neighborhood.
So I was just there with this domain, and I would go out 4 or 5 nights a week.
Yep.
And a lot of the time I'd go to the meatpacking district because someone would know a promoter, and you'd go in and you'd get your free, jug of vodka and cranberry juice.
Yep.
And wake up the next morning and go to work and be like dead.
Yeah.
But you get past it because you were
past it.
20, you know?
100%.
And you know what's funny? I remember in high school being like, I did some online thing that told me how many people I was going to have sex with in my life. And
Wait, what?
That sounds fun.
I was a virgin. It said 3. And I was so upset for years.
Oh my God. You took that to heart?
It was in the back of my head at all times.
Oh my
Anytime
God.
I fucked up or like, it was really tragic and sad. And I remember being like, I'm never gonna, in high school, I was never getting girls, whatever. I was like, I'm never gonna be able to, how do people do this?
Aww.
And I remember the first time I went to one of those clubs and I was like, oh, all you have to do is be there.
Yeah.
Dude, my friend calls it BT&E.
What's that mean?
Be tall and exist. That's all you gotta do.
Dude,
Wait,
tall
the
and
girl
exist.
hits on you, or
You just, the less you do, the better off you are.
well, yeah, the less talking. That's true. That's very true.
If you get invited to that dinner table somehow, you're gonna get to fucking canoodle, dude.
There you
Wow.
go.
It's
Yeah.
incredible. And then all of a sudden, and everybody's so wasted. The amount of insane, regrettable, not necessarily regrettable, but regrettable in the sense that you would not have ever done it sober sex that happens
right
in that instant.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
really remarkable.
yeah. Yeah, because you feel so young and dumb and free and fuck it,
So-
like
What-
Kesha,
Krystyna, Kesha.
like early Kesha.
Early Kesha.
Not Timber. You mentioned that you've said things on your podcast where you forget that you're talking about real people that you know,
Yeah.
and that it has offended them or hurt your relationship maybe.
Mm-hmm.
What is an example, without naming names, of like the worst time that you really went over the line?
Well, it was with my ex. He didn't start listening to guys. He thought Guys We Fucked was a bad idea. When I told him about it, I was like, Corinne, I have this idea for this podcast. It's called Guys We Fucked. And he's like, that's dumb. And I was like, no, it's not. And so we did it anyway. And then about 3 months into the podcast being out, that's when he started listening to it. And I had already divulged because he kind of taught me how to like be really good at communicating with like sexual stuff, sexual needs, emotional needs. And it got me to be really honest about what I wanted. And I was kind of excited about this newfound tool that I had, a way of communicating about this stuff. So I would say like he likes his ass licked and all this stuff that on the podcast that he likes. And there was one day where he listened to like 3 months worth of episodes in one day. And he was just texting me, yelling at me all day. Like, you fucking said that. That was like the first time we ever almost broke up.
Oh my God.
Because he was really upset. And I was like, that's fair. That's fair. Didn't ask you that I could talk about that.
Right.
If I could talk about that.
Was it easy to figure out who he was?
Yeah. Not anymore.
Got it. Yeah.
I mean, I blocked him. He tried to sue us. So,
Wow.
Whoa.
And this is pre-conventional pod wisdom existing. Like,
Yeah.
this being an obvious thing wasn't a thing yet.
Right. Exactly. We didn't think anybody was going to listen.
Right.
So that's why I was just blabbing on.
Yeah.
It's the idea of having to prepare for if something does extremely well. Is
You
such an
have
interesting
no
thing.
idea. And whenever something does well, you never think it's going to, or you never like know it's going to. You really don't.
Right.
It takes you by surprise, and you're like, "Oh fuck, I said all this shit." The first press piece that came out, the Daily Beast, I had a panic attack because I was like, "Oh my god, people are going to be listening to me talk about really intimate things." Oh,
Yeah.
Well, very good, Krystyna. we had so much fun with you. It's such a pleasure to have
committed
you.
some crimes.
Guys, you can find her podcast on Luminary. It is, of course, Guys We Fucked with our dear friend Corinne Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
Where can we find you on social media?
Ooh, Krystyna Hutch on all social media, and I have my own podcast that's on all the platforms that I really like because I'm weird on it.
What's that one?
It's called The Voices in Our Heads, and it's so fucking weird, and it's available everywhere. And I would definitely want to promote that.
Awesome.
Check that out.
Thanks for joining us, as ever, at Oops the Podcast. I'm at Francis C.C. Ellis. He is at Not Julio. We will see you next week. See you guys.
Adios.